It's going. Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Okay, they're all going.
Excellent.
And yes, the live video button is clicked on Facebook.
Nice.
So yes, we are live.
Hello, everybody. This is Jacob,
This is Drew.
and we're the Cellcast, and today we're reviewing. What movie are we reviewing today?
The Aladdin knockoff film, Wish Dragon.
It's an Aladdin.
It's not really a knockoff.
It's not
just
really a
very,
knockoff.
Very similar.
Yeah. It takes nice little beats from Disney's Aladdin,
Yeah,
and kind of then makes its own story out of it.
that is very true. I'm just noticing there are more buttons on the bottom of my Riverside console than when last time we did it. And this interesting.
Interesting. Apparently, there's a call-in number.
There has been for that for a while.
Never noticed that.
We never did it.
Nope.
We don't have a call-in segment.
That is true, because that would be kind of interesting but weird.
Yeah. I should mute my phone.
Yes.
Good thing that was only Twitch telling me, hey, you're live.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to use the remote dashboard?
You that.
Okay. So, how are y'all doing? Peoples of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing swell. Doing swell.
Swell.
Yeah, use an older word.
Right.
Oh, yeah, just
Do you realize we're only 3 episodes, counting this episode, we're only 3 away from Bad Movie Month.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to it also, but it's still Bad Movie Month.
Yeah. Now, mind you, this is something we came up with. I want to do it for.
We've been talking about it since season 1.
Yeah, we have.
In one form or another, but
and we're
just
season
now getting
4.
around to it.
Yeah. I think it was more, we're like, are we brave enough? Do we have the courage to stamina to stand really, really bad animated movies?
Well, I noticed that thankfully, while not patrons, because this is not Patreon. This was not a Patreon poll, but our Facebook Cell Nation Facebook group was very nice, not to us, but to the people who were going to be on that singles retreat with us, that were going to have to sit through us, at least hearing us watch one of these movies on the singles retreat.
Which movie is that anyway?
The Emoji Movie.
Oh, okay.
Which of the 4 is probably the least bad, I'm guessing.
Okay.
At least was intended to be a good movie. I guess they're all intended to be a good movie, but it was at least not a movie made cheaply.
True.
I'll say.
Gotcha.
The others, on the other hand,
are hot garbage.
Some of them are.
Some of them.
Some of them we're going to look at and go, what do we get ourselves into? Why is there a rapping dog?
In a Titanic movie. You
hanging
picked it
out with knockoff Fievel. Who almost made it into someone's digestion. That's how he says that.
Ugh. Makes me shiver. So yeah. Anyways, we're gonna wait for a little more audience to come in, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this one. This was a good movie.
Yeah.
I know when we were doing the beginning of the year, I think it was this was 2001 this movie came out.
21.
That's what I meant to say.
Not 2001.
Yeah, 2021.
Yes. Same year as Mitchell's versus the Machines, and it was one of those like that was intended to go to theaters if COVID had given up enough to make Sony feel happy about it, but it didn't.
True. Thanks, COVID.
Yeah, thanks, COVID.
But
Which is ironic considering how much Chinese money is in this movie.
Yeah, there is. There's
blatantly.
A lot.
What, 3 production companies At least.
Oh, it's a lot more than that.
Well, it's a lot more than that, but 3 that were big enough or had paid up enough money that their logos were at the beginning of the film.
True. Yeah. Lots and lots of money put into this movie.
Yeah. I don't know if it counts as propaganda or not, though. It's still Aladdin.
It's still Aladdin, agreed, but it's sold in
with
more.
A furry dragon.
Huh?
With a furry dragon.
With a furry dragon.
I have opinions about this design choice.
Okay.
It'll come up in
all right.
the dislikes.
All right.
Because I'm going to ask the question about wanting to ask ever since I first saw Falkor on the Neverending Story.
Okay.
Why do these dragons have fur? I mean, Falkor at least kind of looked like a dog, so it kind of made sense. But
yeah.
Anyway, while we're waiting, I'm gonna get me a red can because I'm thirsty.
Okay, get yourself a red can.
I can go behind you.
As Drew walks out of frame, you can see his shadow, then his hand. Yeah, guys, be like, if you have seen Wish Dragon on Netflix, if you have Netflix, it's perfectly available. If you've watched it, comment down below what you think. What do you think of this film? I know already someone that's when I posted the alert, they're like, hey, we're doing a live thing, said, oh, the Aladdin spoof. It's like, I would agree with that.
He said that this movie gave me Aladdin vibes.
Aladdin vibes, that's what it was. Thank you, Heather. Yeah, that was like, yeah, it's always good to get people to, react or comment on things. And there again, we're still growing as a community. We're still growing as a podcast. We're always growing.
PaulJPowers.com on the Twitch chat says, did it do well in China? Do we even know how it did in China?
Well, it was all streaming. Let's say that.
So your answer is no.
No clue.
We have no clue how well it did in China. Well, it couldn't have done any better than 1.5 billion people?
It probably did fairly well in China. Let's say that.
One assumes.
Yeah. When you have Jackie Chan part of the dubbing cast.
Except he wasn't actually in the cast. He was just a producer. But he did do some of the voiceover for the Chinese version.
Yes.
So I did look it up.
Mm-hmm.
Also, no Kingdom Hearts connections this week.
Really?
Not a single one.
Wow. That is. Has that been a first?
No. Last one. The last one that absolutely had nothing was He-Man and She-Ra.
That's right.
Secret of the Sword.
Yes.
That was the absolute one that had absolutely nothing. Now there have been some of them where
you literally
this year where I had to dig pretty hard to get something, and it was usually like Foley artist or French horn, and some of those I just didn't dig hard enough, so I just said we didn't have any.
Right.
Now I haven't done that recently since what was it, last week? It was we had a Foley artist and a French horn.
Yes.
That was our connections. This week we weren't even that lucky.
Wow. All right, so ready to roll?
Yeah,
let's do this.
Well, I take it back. There was one kind of a third level connection.
Okay.
In a way, because one of these people was in the live action Mulan.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't count that.
Oh, so how would you connect that?
Well, live action Mulan is at least based on Mulan, the cartoon animated movie, which is a world in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Oh, okay. So 7 points to Kingdom Hearts?
Except I'm not doing that. I've always gone direct connection. That's just how I roll.
I know. I would love it at some point if you can't find a connection, do somehow find a connection. If that's going through like loops and do a 7.
Well, I mean,
7 points to Kevin Bacon kind of thing.
If you do that, that's easy because I can still use the Mulan thing because in live action Mulan, what's her name? She was I can't think of her name. The one who actually played Mulan in the animated movie.
Oh,
Ming-Na Wen.
Yeah,
Ming-Na Wen did play did have a cameo in the live action Mulan as the lady who presents Mulan to the Emperor at the very end.
Yes.
And that can go two ways, because along with being in Mulan, we also saw her in Final Fantasy The Spirits Within as
True.
I keep wanting to say Akira. That is not her name. Whatever the lead character's name was. It's just gone from my mind. So yeah, I can at least get you 3 points.
Yeah.
There through Ming-Na Wen, but that's about it. I thought I would get something through Big Hero 6, like through Go-Go, maybe, but no such luck. Anyway, you ready to start this thing?
Yeah, why not?
Dila, are you even here? I forgot to ask if you were here.
Yeah,
she is loud. Let me take a fix on that.
And normally she's coming from over here, not over here on the speakers.
I know what happened. I think it's this one. Let's find out. Nope. It's the other one. Enable that one. Disable that one. Now. There we go. Now it's coming through, and we don't have to turn the speaker back on every time. Okay. So, Dila, why don't you go ahead and give us the intro for today?
The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who just woke up in a jade teapot. Welcome, Jacob. Hey, you know the rules. Phenomenal cosmic power. Big space. Okay, fine.
Thank you. You're not getting any wishes after that.
It's not like you couldn't have left at any time.
True. Why, thank you. Let me introduce our co-host. A man who, just wants to reunite with a friend. Welcome, Drew.
Well, don't we all want to reunite with our friends from childhood from time to time?
True. Very, very true.
Of course, none of mine are rich models for rings.
True.
And hot. Let me rephrase, because I did know some girls and who might take some offense to that. I just thought of that. None of them. You know what? I'm not going to fix that because I can't fix it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Kill me later. None of that was meant towards you. It was meant towards all my friends who are guys. That even sounds worse.
Digging yourself a hole.
Moving right along. How are you,
into the country? Very good. As you can see for our visual audience, I am wearing a Texas Ranger hat
that you bought Saturday.
I bought Saturday. Me and a couple of friends from the Signals group at our church. We went to a Texas, including Drew over here. We went to a Texas Rangers game in Arlington, Texas, and that was
walked 2 miles to and from our van.
That was fun for me. Others not so much.
My legs are sore.
I was hyper. Let's say that.
You were not walking in sandals.
That's true. You'd be like, yes, I was in more advantage than you were.
I was not. I was expecting to walk, just not that far.
Right. Yeah. My week prior to,
especially since after I looked at the map after the fact, I realized we went the long way both times.
Maybe someone would listen to the smaller guy.
The route you suggested was not the fast route either.
Okay, then.
We should have just gone straight through those doors and walked right past the old ballpark.
Okay, that'll work.
That would have been faster.
You live in there.
I couldn't. None of us could tell that sitting up there.
True. So my week was very long. My weekend was very long. Friday it was, go to work, get off. A friend of mine was doing kind of a housewarming, guys. What was it? Bros, booze,
barbecue, and board games.
Yeah, board games. That's what it was. The 4
That's
Bs.
what you told me.
Yes.
You never said all 4 of those at once because you always forgot one.
Yes, I did. So I went home.
4 Bs.
Yeah, the 4 Bs. So yes.
Moving on. Some of them were buzzed after that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. So I went hung up there, left there about midnight, got home, got some sleep, got up the next morning, did a little workout, went back for breakfast, left there, stopped off to where I work, grabbed a few things, went to the church, met the crew going to the Rangers game, went to said Rangers game, had a blast there.
Sitting right under the air vent.
Oh my gosh.
Which was nice, actually.
It was nice, but you're freezing I was freezing my liver.
By inning 7, we were all thinking, can we move?
Yeah. There's plenty of room.
I'm starting to get frostbite.
So I think trying to find food was interesting prior to
no one would tell me where to go. Okay,
exactly. I agree.
Saying, why do we go here? Why don't we go here? It's like, guys, just pick a spot. Why didn't y'all think of this before we left?
And so one of the interesting stories for that, because we
eventually gave up. We're going to go to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
we get turned into the Chick-fil-A parking lot. One of our gang says, "Hey guys, I have a question. Can we go eat at the TGI Fridays across the street?
Because I don't want to eat just a salad."
Yeah, it's like, you know what? That's fair. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to get us over there.
Yeah, it was an adventure. The Rangers won. It was a great game. On the way back, me and Drew had a blast and a half singing the entire time.
Supposedly there is a video of us, but I have not seen it posted yet.
Yeah, it hasn't surfaced yet. That's gonna be interesting whenever that does. It's us singing "You May Be Right." I'd be like, "You're crazy.
But it
just ain't a lunatic you're looking for."
Okay, moving on.
So turn out the lights.
I do wonder if people think we are actually crazy.
They may be right. But either or,
they're the ones who let us drive.
That is true. Yeah, that was fun. We got back probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. Church the next morning.
All of us are half awake.
Yeah. Potluck, which is where we just eat, a meal together as a singles department. And I got home and I'm like, you know what? I'm pooped. I'm doing nothing else today. And I got well rested, went to work today. And I'm here.
All right.
How about you?
You just described one of my days.
Right.
Because I was right there with you.
True.
Friday, though, I guest hosted on the Retro Rewind podcast for their review of Quigley Down Under.
Mm-hmm.
But unlike you, Saturday morning, I continued with the Retro Rewind crew because it was Francisco's birthday.
Yeah.
And he was having a birthday stream where they were playing community games all day.
Oh, okay.
And one of the games we ended up playing was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Oh, really?
I have now officially beaten Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge.
Nice.
Which is saying something considering I didn't watch the cartoon growing up. But I had fun with the gang. That's the main thing. And it was a fun game.
Right.
We had a good time.
That's good.
So, yeah. And we kept annoying Francisco all weekend, calling him Roy.
Roy.
That was fun.
I can imagine.
We should be posting that episode tomorrow. So if you are on Retro Rewind, keep an eye out for that.
Awesome.
A very fun episode.
Yeah, because I was actually given the opportunity to be on that show.
Right.
But it was more, I was so torn. I was like, I want to do the review because I loved Quigley Down Under when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, okay, I don't get to see these people that often because most of them live in the Houston area or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go hang out with my friends.
And that's very fair.
Yeah. So yeah, I had
Francisco may fight you over this, but I don't care because who listens to Roy?
That's true. Minus when he's got that gun in his hand.
He can't see the smile on my face, except for the video people. Can you hear me, Roy? Anyway, moving on.
But it's like, yeah, that's
so
cool.
Yeah, that was fun. And then Sunday night, I actually did go over to hang out with our good friend Chase.
Yeah,
we just mostly hung out and we watched a movie, which I'll talk about in a minute.
Okay.
And just had a good time. Didn't get home till 11.
Oof.
Because you know how we get to talking.
Right.
But other than that, it was a pretty decent week.
That's good.
Kind of a normal week. So, Jacob, I do have a question for you, my friend.
What have you been watching?
Okay. That is a good question. So prior to us hitting record, Drew actually showed me a promo for a unaired Gundam.
Unmade. If we're being honest, it was the promo / pilot that they sent to, I guess, the network, like NBC, like the NBC, CBS, Fox, all that sort of people, to shop around this show concept. It's like 5 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
And they took footage from SD Gundam and turned it into something called Doozy Bots.
Which was weird.
Yeah, it was very weird.
It was very weird. So speaking of Gundam, our friend Dallas over at Geek Devotions has recently started doing the Gundam Watch, which I've listened to. I think the first episode.
I've listened to episode 0. I listened to that today.
Yeah, it's good so far. Be like my primarily Gundam franchise. Me going into was Gundam Wing.
Mine is Mobile Fighter G Gundam. The as Dallas says in that episode, probably the most racially insensitive Gundam series ever made.
Agreed.
Like, you're not wrong, but at the same time, Shining Finger.
Oh my gosh! But
I wish I remembered the whole phrase. But
so I'm kind of. I think this was on Sunday. So I'm sitting around just relaxing. Gonna go to bed early.
Yes.
And I'm sitting around and I'm watching. I'd be like, I'm on Netflix and like, okay, what they got Gundam? It's like Gundam Hathaway. What is this? So I turned it on and it's like not thinking, be like, this might be connected to Universal Century in any fashion or form. So I watch it and they start talking about Char's Rebellion.
That would be Universal Century.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Be like, this takes place before that. And it's like, okay, so I finished watching the movie and it's like it just abruptly ends as far as I remember. And I'm like, I need to watch Char's Counterattack, which is a movie it's from Gundam double Zeta or double.
Ask Gundam. Me no questions.
I'm not.
I will tell you no lies. I will fully admit that my knowledge of Mobile Suit Gundam is very limited.
Got it. So be like, and then it's like, you know what? I'm gonna watch Char's Counterattack, which is the Mobile Suit Gundam movie.
I have heard of this movie at the very least.
It's good. It's interesting, and it's like Char's crazy attempt to destroy the Earth because Earthlings are just insects who are going to destroy the planet and they're inferior because now you live in space and somehow you have psychic powers.
I'm sorry, but when you said he's going to blow up the Earth, my thought was, is it blocking his view of Venus? Is he going to blow it up with his uranium-236 explosive space modulator? I love the blank look on Jacob's face right this minute.
I have no idea.
He doesn't know that I'm referencing Marvin the Martian from Looney Tunes.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Isn't that lovely?
Not really.
Moving on.
But so I watched it. It's like it's a good movie. Be like, most of the female heroines in this movie are basically fodder for our main two antagonist protagonist. And one of them, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. She's this spoiled brat kid who's just rich. She's part of the autocracy, or what is that?
Aristocracy.
Aristocracy. I always get that word mixed up.
It's not an easy word.
No, it's not. But she's like rich and just uppity, and nope, she doesn't listen to reason. And when her character dies, I'm like, I'm not clapping, but I'm like, okay. And it's like
works for me.
Works for me. That sounds really bad for a little teenage character who gets blown up. But it's just like, like you watch the movie and it's like, sure, you're gross. It's like, what is wrong with you? What kind of sicko character are you? Anyways, I'm not gonna go farther into that, but it's just like, nah. But and while I was taking my notes, decided to, because I mentioned before, like talk about Inuyasha. I've started rewatching Inuyasha on Netflix, and yeah, it's pretty good. Now, granted, when I watched it on Toonami originally, I was like, oh, this is cool. I had no idea it was, created by
long.
Yeah, it is long.
It's longer than Dragon Ball.
7 seasons and a final cut or whatever. Final act, this is what it was.
And it goes in circles for a long time.
It does.
Which is why I gave up on the show.
Yeah. But I'm enjoying it so far. I'm circling in season 1. And I'm enjoying it so far. Be like, it's like, oh, okay, I remember this very well. Minus they don't have all 7 seasons or the final acts on Netflix.
It's on Crunchyroll.
Probably.
Everything's on Crunchyroll now.
Yeah, apparently.
But anyway.
Yeah. Also, I've gotten into watching more like Mayday, airline disasters, and all that stuff. There again, I am a true crime nut, and it's just watching them investigate how these planes crash and what's the reason. Is a pilot error? Is mechanical? Is it anything like that? It's just really fascinating watching it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all I've been watching. You?
Well, when I was over at Chase's, we watched a movie that I had not seen before. That was directed by Robert Zemeckis.
Really?
Yes. It was a movie called Used Cars.
Oh, yeah.
I had never even heard of this film. Now, I will say, if you are underage, don't watch it, because good night, is there a lot of nudity in this film. But
it was the 80s.
I know, but still, you should know going into it.
True.
It is not a family film in any way,
Agreed.
shape, or form, even though it is a stupid comedy.
And it was produced by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, it was his second film.
Yeah. And it bombed in theaters. That's why Zemeckis went on to do Romance in the Stone.
Right. But anyway. So also along with that, I have also been watching this week an anime. I've gotten through 6 episodes, I believe now, of a show I actually originally talked about in a previous podcast life.
Really?
Back when I was on Geeks Casting Pods. An anime I discovered while we were in the middle of that, after I had moved into this very apartment, but for whatever reason never finished. And it just recently this year got a 2nd season. That anime is The Devil is a Part-Timer.
Really?
Yes. Now, I'm a Christian, so you would think that a TV show where the devil is the protagonist, we should be against that. I'm going to tell you, this is not that devil. Heck, there is a character in here named Lucifer, and it is a separate character, and it is not that Lucifer. They are characters with different names. Deal with it. But it starts off as being kind of your reverse comedy, reverse isekai comedy,
right?
Where these characters from this fictional, to us is a fictional world, are now having to deal with, having to make money. Now they have bodies that require food, and they don't know how to deal with all that stuff. And it starts that way, but then somewhere around episode 4. It suddenly turns into a semi-serious drama.
Really?
And it's like, oh, you're actually doing something interesting and not just being a silly comedy. Because normally anime, it starts off as a silly comedy and never leaves that.
Really?
Like One Punch Man, for instance.
Right.
One Punch Man does some other interesting things. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But it's never really leaves the vein of, look at what ridiculous thing you're going to see next. This show, I mean, despite the fact it's called The Devil is a Part-Timer, it doesn't even half the time go to his part-time job at McRonald's. Not McDonald's. McRonald's. Like copyright. Ain't that fun? Actually, trademark, but whatever. It's like 3 or 4 episodes where they're not even there. And finally we get back and go, oh yeah, you do work for a knockoff McDonald's, don't you? Okay. And because it's not just the devil and the person who went back with him, Asiel, but also the hero that was fighting them in the war before they came here also ended up here. And she ends up realizing, oh yeah, the devil actually isn't that bad a guy. There's just this whole race of demons there that need other things. He was just trying to do good by his people, so he's not really a bad guy. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
It's an interesting show. I do suggest it, and I think it's like TV PG. I think it's PG when you get right down to it. But yeah, that was an interesting show. And then since you have talked a little bit about Gundam, I'll mention something Gundam I watched this week.
Really?
It was there's a YouTube channel I watch from time to time called Re-Res, and they have a show that shows up on there called It's Just Bad.
Okay.
Where they are reviewing they're intentionally reviewing really bad games and going into great detail and mocking said games for how bad they are.
Okay.
They have done a large number of games. Some of them you would think of as being bad games, like Sonic R, the Sonic the Hedgehog racing game that was on the Sega Saturn, which is hot garbage.
Okay.
I will always admit that one. They've done newer stuff like ironically also connected to Sonic through his creator, Balan Wonderworld, which was also hot garbage. I can speak to that personally because that game was hot garbage. But the episode I watched today was not just a Gundam game. It was an FMV Gundam game. You remember you ever heard of Dragon's Lair?
Yeah.
You know how that game kind of worked?
Kind of.
Where you pick it would play a video, and at certain times if you hit the button at the right time, the character would do an action that maybe will get them to the next screen, but if they don't, they die.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Okay.
With Gundam. But here's the thing. This came out before any other Gundam thing, perhaps, well, except for Doozy Bots, of course. Any other Gundam thing had ever made it to U.S. shores. It is based, my understanding, on the original Mobile Suit Gundam storyline. Except you're not playing as that main character, you're playing as generic human number 23. And instead of it being, nice animation, like 2D animation that they could have easily used and it would have worked nicely, it's live action.
It's live action?
They acted this thing out. Char is wearing a Darth Vader helmet painted white with what looks like someone had taken a Cheerios box or some kind of cereal box thing, cut a mask out of it, and then taped construction paper to it for his mask. The CG, now most of the Gundam stuff, the Gundam people things themselves, they are 3D CG pre-rendered stuff. So they looks okay, but the game is extremely esoteric in its control schemes, even far more than most FMV games. And yeah, they tore that thing to pieces. Another fun thing. What's the name of the nation that Char is leading the army for?
Zeon.
Yeah, the Principality.
Yeah, Principality of Zeon. Yeah.
Well, they hadn't quite nailed that English translation of the name of the country yet.
Oh no.
In this one, it was the dukedom. Not dukedom. It was what's the other one that dukes usually use? Anyway,
yeah,
the duchy. The Duchy of Jean.
Jean. How do you get Zeon out of Jean?
They saw a word. They thought surely it's not Zeon. I guess.
Jean?
And they went with, maybe it's French, but spelled weird. Jean. And the joke is every time someone said something about the Duchy of Jean, they had a toilet bowl on screen. And this is the great scene where Char gets that guy to essentially do a kamikaze move on it, and the guy kind of goes a little bit crazy. He as he's piloting the ship to his death, basically, he goes, "For the glory of Jean!" And of course, they edited in on top of the ship as it was heading in that same little toilet bowl, going right smack into, just like, guys, this is crazy. The game, if you do everything right the first time, you could beat in 30 minutes. It is that bad.
Wow.
That's short. And it ends on a cliffhanger. They never released a sequel.
I can imagine why. I can't imagine for whatever reason.
And what makes no sense to anybody is the fact that before that game came out, in Japan, they had released not one, but two Gundam Simulator games for the same console that could have easily been adapted. And they didn't. And those games are still Japan only.
Unless you get an emulator.
You'd have to find someone who made a patch to make it into English. But still. Anyway, that was fun. This is why I like reviews of bad stuff.
Gotcha.
I say knowing in 3 weeks I'm going to have to make reviews of bad stuff.
Yep.
But
yeah. It's coming.
So yeah, I watched that, and I think that's about all I've really done.
Okay.
So what do we have in the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
Why, thank you, Dealet. And let's get into the news. Let's see. Get ready for fun and adventure as the underdog becomes the top dog in this hilarious family-friendly film. Paws of Fury: The Legend of Hank arrives early to purchase and rent on digital on this Tuesday on August 16th, which is today. Dun, dun, dun. With a host of entertaining bonus features from Paramount Home Entertainment. This dog will have his day on Blu-ray and DVD on October 18th.
Prior to COVID, a movie coming out this quickly would have made me think this must not have done very well. But now I don't know. I don't think you can use time to make that kind of decision.
Yeah.
As to how well it did without looking it up. But at the same time, I never heard anybody talk about this film.
Yeah.
When it came out.
It did decent in the theaters. It didn't do extremely well, but it did decent.
But is it any good?
Yeah, that's a question. That we will have to do some review at some point.
It is extremely loosely based, supposedly on Blazing Saddles.
Yes.
But The fact that it's loose makes me wonder.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. So something we kind of talk about every once in a while is Dragon Ball Z, GT, whatever.
Yeah.
Super. Originally scheduled for an April release, Dragon Ball Superhero premiered in Japan on July 11th. Following delays due to
a fire. I think it was a fire.
No, it was a ransomware attack.
Oh yes, it was the ransomware attack.
Okay. Yeah, ransomware attack on the studio in March, and now is rolling out international through Crunchyroll and Sony Pictures. Toei's animated Dragon Ball Superheroes arrives in North America theaters on Friday, April 19th through Crunchyroll.
In August?
Yeah, August. That's what I'm going to say. August. I read it wrong.
I figured that's what you meant. Just making sure.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we're real late.
Yeah, a little late. All right. So there has been news more recently that we are getting a Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yes. Soon.
Yeah, very soon, actually. Universal Pictures just announced that DreamWorks Animation is getting ready, getting in fighting shape to deliver Kung Fu Panda 4 to theaters on Friday, March 8th, 2024.
Well, so relatively soon. That's relatively 2 years out.
That's 2 years out, but it still gives them plenty of time to but it still gives them plenty of time to do, what they need to do to make a good film.
Yes.
Now, I know they're coming out with a series. I know that Jack Black is reprising his role as Poe.
Yeah, but they've already made one series, so that's not that big.
True,
because Legends of Awesomeness was on Nickelodeon.
True. Yeah, there really isn't any news. Be like who's directing. We know that Jack Black is returning as Poe,
which is good.
Agreed.
I don't think anyone could do that role besides Jack Black.
True. And there's no other casting announcement yet, but we will definitely stay tuned for that information. Let you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And there again, thank you, Heather Morgan, for sending me links to news when it breaks. Thank you so much for that. So yeah, that is all I have for in the news.
All right. Well, then we need to get into the spoiler-free section of our review for Wish Dragon.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
Well, this was my first viewing of this film, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's definitely safe for kids, so let your kids watch it.
Yeah.
Of course, if you have any issues, as always, watch it with them or watch it beforehand. Mm-hmm. You know how best to help your child. But yeah, I enjoyed the movie. It had a great story. There's some aspects. Okay, let's just get. This is not really much of a spoiler per se, but this has a lot of similarities with Aladdin.
Just a little bit.
The Disney Aladdin. So if you liked Aladdin, probably you will like this. There are some story differences.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it kind of fits a lot of those same motifs. It does tell its own original story, even though it has similarities. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it immensely. I think the only real issue I have is it didn't release in theaters.
Agreed.
So yeah, I enjoyed Wish Dragon. Do you know there's a sequel coming out of this movie?
I didn't see that.
It was on one of the IMDb things I looked at, I think for long. On that actor. I can't think of his name right now. It's in my notes, but why would I look at my notes before I have to read my notes?
Right.
No, it was on the writer.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. One of the writers.
The
writer and director, I should say. Anyway, what are your thoughts?
Like yourself, this was my first viewing of this movie, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Before I watched the movie, I actually watched the trailer prior to just to get a hint, like a feel of what's going on. I'm like, this is just the Aladdin knockoff, because that's all they're showing is more like the Aladdin aesthetic of this film.
Yeah.
Which is based off 101 Arabian Nights.
1001
Arabian Nights. I'm sorry.
There were 999 more Arabian Nights that had to save Scheherazade.
Yeah. From getting the axe the next morning.
As long as she kept laying that cliffhanger.
Yep.
I've been trying to go through 1001 Arabian Nights. And literally it's like, you think you're getting close to the end of the story, and then someone will say, this is a lot like that tale, so and so and so and so. And the other person will say, I have no idea what that tale is. And the first person will say, well, here, let me tell you about it. And then they tell this tale of so and so. It's like, okay. I don't think they finished one tale yet in all the ones I've gone through so far.
Huh.
I'm like 20 tales deep in terms of nested tales and other tales.
So are you listening to it audio or
on audiobook?
Okay, gotcha.
No, I don't own a physical copy.
I was this close at one point buying that book, but either way,
interesting.
It is interesting. I really enjoyed this movie. It was really, there again, it did have the Aladdin aesthetics, but it made its own story, very unique story. Definitely about a boy and just wanting to reconnect with his best friend who just happens to be a model now. And I kept thinking, be like, okay, Aladdin, what are you gonna do next? But his name's not Aladdin.
Oh, it's Din.
It's Din.
Or is it
Dan?
Prince Ali by any other name would still be a street rat.
True. But I really enjoyed it. It's got a lot of heart. Definitely you get towards the third act of the film. It's very well done.
Yeah.
You get a lot of, like, I didn't expect to get that much backstory on a certain character.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
In there.
Yeah, we didn't get any of that kind of background on,
the character from Aladdin it fills that role. We'll say.
Yes. I feel like a Krang from Ninja Turtles. I'm just saying the name over and over again. But overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was a blast to watch, and highly recommend this movie. Go watch it.
All right. So we will get to spoiling this thing right after the bumpers. So join us then. Let's do it.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest the Retro Rewind podcast. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind pod as they travel back 15 years or more along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today and what isn't. Expect fun banter and travel insights from Francisco, Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and a rotating cast of guest hosts, all of which are out of time.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Ruiz, Book of Gaming.
To get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast Plus reviews, and special art from Jacob, please donate to us on Patreon.
I'm working on that.
You're always working on that. Not that I have anything wrong with that. I have no room to talk. I'm barely keeping up with Untangling Kingdom Hearts. So yeah.
All right. So what do we got in the chat?
Well, I did want to point this one thing. When me and Deedlet were setting up to fix Ashley's name, since she is now no longer Ashley Cronenbitter, but Ashley Ruiz, since she and Francisco are married.
Aww.
It wouldn't take Ruiz as spelled and pronounce it correctly.
How did it pronounce it?
Ruse.
Ruse?
Ruse.
So it's Russian.
Apparently. It's like, no, it's supposed to be Spanish, so I had to spell it out Rueez. And that's when it got Ruiz.
Ruiz.
Ay.
Thanks, Roy.
And yeah, thanks, Roy. I should have just said Roy, but that would because she's not Roy.
She's not Roy.
She's not Roy.
The captain's
Roy. Captain is Roy. and we can't get her except the role of Admiral, even though, let's face it, she's the Admiral. But where was I going to say? There's not much going on in our chat right now. Facebook and YouTube are, for the most part, silent.
Twitch
has had a little bit, but I got to scroll up because of the weird thing my VPN does. Paul asked if the movie did well in China, talking about this movie we're reviewing tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, so sad that I couldn't come up with a Kingdom Hearts connection. More on that in a minute.
Right.
Then he did hashtag inconceivable. And then Paul J. And he said, not even a rainbow connection? Nope, no Muppet connections either.
Oh.
And then Paul said, I'm live. I'm glad you're alive, Paul.
Yeah, that's a blessing. You're still alive, bro.
Yes, we love you for that. Anyway, you ready to jump into the full thing here?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, let me bring up the notes. Dealet, give me a mark of these if you would, ma'am. Thank you. The following is a spoiler-filled review for the movie Wish Dragon. Listener discretion is advised. Wish Dragon was written and directed by Chris Appelhans, who, along with directing the upcoming Wish Dragon 2, is also directing the upcoming movie, and I'm not making this name up, K-pop Demon Hunters.
That just sounds interesting.
Yeah.
K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yes, Demon Hunters who apparently do K-pop.
Huh.
The dialogue for this film was written by, and I'm going to apologize for me messing this name up, Zhao Kao Liu. That's my best guess. If I'm wrong, I apologize. She has not done much, admittedly. She did write, edit, direct, and produce a short of hers called Cabby. She's also been a translator for movies going between here and China. Like 2 or 3 of them I saw in there. And the other way around.
Gotcha.
Cast includes Jimmy Wong playing Din. And he played Ling in Mulan Ball Z.
Mulan Ball Z.
I'm sorry, y'all don't know it as that. Y'all know it as the live action version of Mulan. But let's face it, there's a lot of Dragon Ball in that Mulan.
I thought you were talking about the really, really bad movie, Dragon Ball Evolution.
No. Less said about that movie, the better.
True.
John Cho was the voice of Zhu Long. Or, no, sorry, not Zhu Long. Long Zhu. That's his name. And he was Sulu in the Abrams-verse Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
Constance Wu was the voice of Mom, and she played Rachel Chu in Crazy Rich Asians. Natasha Liu Bordizzo was the voice of Li Na. And in the upcoming Disney Plus original series, Ahsoka, she is playing the character Sabine Wren, who that character originally appeared on Star Wars Rebels.
I thought I recognized that name.
Jimmy O Yang was the voice of Small Goon.
Oh gosh.
Who really wanted longer legs.
Yes, I can imagine.
He was Henchman 1 in Minions: The Rise of Gru.
Oh.
Bobby Lee was the voice of Tall Goon.
The puppy guy.
Yeah. And he was a valet in the movie Paul, the movie about the guys who find the escaped alien from Area 51.
Oh, yeah, that
15 years ago.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Aaron Yu was the voice of Pockets, the head goon in the white jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Suit. I never heard them call him Pockets.
No.
I had to look up who Pockets was.
Yeah.
But he played the character of Chewie in Friday the 13th, 2009.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Will Yun Lee played Dad, and he was Agent Park in the movie Rampage. Nico Santos played Buckley, and he played a character named Mateo in the television show Superstore. That looked like a big box retailer version of The Office.
Yeah.
And then Ronnie Chiang, played Pipe of God. And he played the character of John in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Kingdom Hearts connections. Absolutely, positively not a 1.
Wah, wah, wah.
I tried, people. I really tried. There was nothing. No direct connection whatsoever. But in the meantime, Jacob, what do we have in info and stuff?
All right. So info and stuff. Get over there. All right. So on IMDb, it is a 7.2 out of 10. It's available on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, go watch it. Production. Hoy. Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures Animation, Tencent Pictures, Beijing Sparkle Roll Media Collaboration, Base FX, Flagship Entertainment Group, Base Collaboration, Culture Investment Holdings, and of all companies, Industrial Light and Magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Weird inclusion right there, but okay.
Yeah. Distributed by
I mean, technically Industrial Light and Magic is no longer owned by Lucasfilm, but they do still have connections, so okay.
True. All right. So distributed by Netflix here in the United States and released by Sony Pictures releasing in China. Release date was January 15th, 2021 in China, and internationally on June 11th, 2021. Box office, it earned $21.1 million. There again, this is during, I think, the second pandemic. I think.
Well, I mean, it was in 2021 during the pandemic.
Yeah. During whichever wave of that pandemic it is.
I think it was the second major variant.
Yeah.
Epsilon?
Mm-hmm.
Delta? I don't remember what the second one was. I know there was one with a Latin letter name, but I don't remember what it was.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah. So apparently, according to the director, at what you said, was the director or a writer?
We wrote and directed.
Yeah, wrote and directed. Apparently, there's going to be a second one.
Apparently.
Yeah, interesting. See where they go from there. Like who other winds up with the teacup? Teapot. I'm sorry, teapot.
There is a difference between a teacup and a teapot.
I know it's not a chihuahua.
Okay.
All right. Wish Dragon was originally scheduled to be released July 26, 2019, but at the Anson International Animation Film Festival, it was confirmed that it was delayed until 2020. Hey, whenever someone says it got delayed till 2020, it's like it's going to be delayed again. You just know it. October was confirmed by Cup and the Age of Wonder Beast creator Redford Sandiford, I'm going to butcher that name, apologize, who served as head of story for this film, that the film would be instead released in 2021. The film was released in China on January 15th, 2021. And yes, apparently there is a sequel.
Okay.
All right. That's all I have for info and stuff.
Time to get into the summary of this film. Din is a working-class college student in Shanghai who dreams of reuniting with his childhood friend, Li Na, who moved away 10 years ago from the neighborhood when her father, Mr. Wang, and now lives a lavish life. One day, Din is given a teapot by an elderly man from which emerges Long, a wish dragon. Long informs Din he will grant 3 wishes to his master, i.e., whoever holds the teapot. Din will be Long's 10th and final master and will free Long from his servitude, allowing him to enter the spirit world. Subsequently, Din is chased by a trio of goons led by a man named Pockets, sent by Mr. Wang to discover the teapot in hopes of saving his failing business. Din uses his first wish to fight the goons and escape. The next day, Din and Long arrive at Li Na's birthday party. Din makes the second wish to temporarily appear as a wealthy princeling for one day, hoping Li Na will notice him and rekindle their friendship. Lena is disappointed when she realizes her father will not be attending her birthday party. Din, sticking to his disguise as Dan, confronts her, and they're asked by Mr. Wang via video call to share a meal together. Long warns Din that Lena will leave him as soon as she finds out his identity because of their different socioeconomic status. During the date, Din asks Long for advice on how to act accordingly to his new status, but ends up upsetting Lena in the process. They both end up in Din's neighborhood after the goons pursue Din again. Din reveals Din reveals himself to Lena, and they spend the rest of the day in the neighborhood reliving their childhood pastimes. However, Lena finally retreats, claiming that she has responsibilities and expectations she needs to meet, hurting Din's feelings. Later that night, Din angrily asks Long to make him rich in a last-ditch effort to be respected. Long reveals to Din that in life he was a wealthy and powerful lord whose reign ended in loneliness and tragedy and was punished by the gods for his selfishness by becoming a wish dragon. Long's servitude as a wish dragon is meant to make him appreciate the meaning of life, something he has failed to accomplish with all his previous masters. After tracking down Din, Pockets betrays Mr. Wang by taking the teapot for himself and asks the wish dragon for his first wish to turn everything he touches to gold.
Always genius.
Always stupid. He drops Mr. Wang from a large scaffolding, mortally wounding him in front of Lena. Din chases the goons and eventually ends up fighting Pockets on Long's back. Pockets corners Din and prepares to hit him with his golden hand, but Long puts himself in the way, causing both him and Pockets to turn into gold statues. Din is unable to stop Long's statue from sinking to the bottom of the river, while Pockets shatters to pieces against the ground. Long finds his human self at the entrance to the spirit world. Despite being tempted to go through the gates, he pleads with the guardian of the gate to return to Din because he has not used his third wish. The guardian agrees on one condition. Din uses his last wish to heal Mr. Wang, and Long disappears. Sometime later, Mr. Wang starts a restaurant featuring Din's mother's cooking, with both Din and Lena helping. Din finds a teapot like the one Long resided in and releases him. Long tells Din the sole condition for his return to Earth was to stay and serve 10 more masters. After saying goodbye to Long, Din places the teapot on a carriage driven by the elderly man from the beginning, who is actually the guardian of the gate to the spirit world. Trivia for this one. While Long, the Wish Dragon, is voiced by John Cho, he is voiced in the Mandarin version by the film's producer, Jackie Chan. Sony Animation's second Netflix exclusive film after the Mitchells versus the Machines.
Mm-hmm.
Long Zhu is Mandarin for Wish Dragon.
Huh.
So literally the character's name was Wish Dragon. Okay. This is Jackie Chan's second Mandarin Chinese voice acting performance in an animated movie after Kung Fu Panda 3. While Li Shan is voiced by Jackie Chan, who also voices Monkey in both the English and Mandarin Chinese versions of those films. In the Chinese version, his voice in the English version is Bryan Cranston.
Really?
For the character of Li Shan.
Li Shan?
Yeah. Chris Applehan's directorial debut. He was in the art department for Coraline 2009.
Nice.
The Princess and the Frog 2009. And he is also known for the Angry Birds movie 2016.
Huh.
Which brings me to the end of the trivia. So Jacob, what are your thoughts on this movie? What's your first like?
My first like would be it's got the Aladdin vibe, but it's got so many good twists that makes itself its own film.
Yeah.
It's not like some of those like early 90s when Aladdin came out and studios were just be like, let's just do an Aladdin film and just do a knockoff.
Direct
knockoffs.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you look at like how they structure the film, they make it like culturally relevant to like, this is I want to say just more like it doesn't really specify what part of Asia or Asia Minor or whatever.
It's China.
It's China.
Or wherever Shanghai is.
Yeah, wherever
Shanghai is China.
Yeah.
I think Shanghai. It might be a city state that's not technically a part of China,
right?
But it's China.
Right. But be like they use very much the culture of the culture of China, and they be like it's a very well done movie, and it's not be like they use the elements that made Disney's Aladdin,
yeah,
and just kind of make it their own. And just they twist the narrative just enough to make it different, and be like, you get some really, really good, good story out of that, and some really good animation too. So yeah, I like it that it's kind of a pseudo homage, it takes a lot of vibes from Aladdin and just makes it its own. It's a really good movie.
Correction, I was wrong. Shanghai actually is in China itself. But anyway.
All right. What's your first?
I'm jumping in on this same train as you and the fact that it's got similarities with Disney's Aladdin, but it plays with it a lot differently because, I mean, you've got, your street rat as in the form of Din, a lovable, good-natured guy, but unlike Aladdin, he's not a thief.
Yeah.
He is actually trying to do a good job. Now, he did skip school in order to get enough money to buy a suit so he could play act on the roof. I have to wonder about.
Yeah.
A very cheap suit, considering how fast it tore into many pieces. You've got the rules behind the wishes being pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Can't make anyone fall in love. Can't bring people back from the dead.
No, it's time travel. It's the time travel.
Wishing for more wishes, and then they add no time travel.
That's right.
Genie didn't have the no time travel rule.
Right.
He never used it, but
true. This movie they do.
Kind of. Or he thinks that's where they're going because that's what he's going to ask, and that's not what it was.
Right.
You've got your and of course his first wish is kind of the accidental wish, much like it was in Aladdin.
Right.
In Aladdin, it was get us out of here, while in this movie it was, oh man, I wish I knew how to fight. And he's now a kung fu master for the rest of the film and presumably the rest of his life.
Yeah. I do want to point out because the accidental wish, the part where it's more where Din gets Long to do something besides using a wish is to get out of traffic.
Right. But I still call this the accidental wish because he also didn't realize what he was actually wishing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense. It's more, I'm in a situation, I wish I had superpowers.
And that kind of happened in Aladdin also, but the extraneous wish was to save Jasmine, I believe.
Yeah.
In one scene. But anyway, because the accidental wish was not counted against Aladdin in Aladdin. Anyway, the second one is make me a prince.
Yeah.
And the minute he says, oh, I don't need to be a prince forever. I just need to be a prince for 24 hours. And I thought, you're an idiot, kid. And I don't just mean because, you have a good point that she won't care and you're just trying to get past the guards. In that case, you only need to be rich for about 10 minutes. But here's just a wild hair. You just set yourself up for the classic scene where Cinderella has to escape from the ball before she turns back into a chambermaid.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing.
Pretty much.
Except you're going to do it 24 hours later in a restaurant you can't afford. So yeah. And then the third wish is, essentially the freeing wish. The selfless wish.
Selfless wish.
Aladdin, he wished for Genie's freedom.
Yeah.
In this movie, it was save her dad.
Yeah.
Which I have a little bit of an issue, but not much with that because it almost already made it look like he was dead, which technically would go against the rule of not bringing people back.
Yeah.
But maybe there was just a spark of life still
Who knows?
left. It's hard to know.
Right.
And you kind of get the feeling that the dad saw Long during his quote unquote not resurrection.
Right.
But anyway, it's got a lot of the similarities, but it plays with it.
Yeah.
Like, it takes until the action-packed thing of Aladdin for Aladdin to lose his Prince Ali costume, persona. Here, you lose it, So in the Prince Ali thing, you don't really get a chance to see how Jasmine reacted before, crap hit the fan.
Right.
This one, she realizes what's going on. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I'm home. Okay, this is all good. This is really what I wish for. She actually, she hated how he had lied to her, but was mostly willing to forgive him. And then her responsibilities came back to bite her in the butt.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay. Plus, who wouldn't be scared if you were suddenly faced with an 80-foot tall version of your face? It's like, yeah, I fell over when I saw that too the first time. But yeah, it's got enough of and plus we do actually get a backstory for our genie character, in this case, the Wish Dragon.
Yeah, Long.
Which I'll get more into that later.
Yeah.
But that's one thing I do actually like about this more than I do about Aladdin is your wish granting person actually is a character and not just a force to get the story to move the plot along. Because as much as I like Robin Williams as Genie and think he's funny, he's mostly there as a funny plot device.
True.
In Aladdin.
Agreed.
For being honest. Here, no, I'm not saying Genie wasn't a legitimate character, but Genie's entire story is I want my freedom.
Yeah.
That's literally the entire point of his story. Here it's like, yeah, Long wants to go to heaven or go to peace in the afterlife, but he has to learn his lesson here. Genie was under no such rule. Anyway, we'll get more into that later on.
Exactly.
What's your second like?
Speaking of Long, my second like would actually be Long Sacrifice. Is the fight with Pockets. Apparently we now know
his name is Pockets. I just thought of him as guy who only fights with his feet.
My first,
and there was that one shot with Pockets. I was like, how are you? Oh, someone's holding you up. Okay.
Yeah. The thing that got me with that was to be like, okay, like why is this character only using his feet? Because I remember there's an animated movie somewhere. I can't remember. We did the review or something like that, where it was a character. He had his hand in his pocket the entire time, and it was something to do with like how the actor had a crippled hand, so they animated it like that.
I don't remember
me either. But anyway, either way. So my thought was like maybe the actor just stuck his hands in his pockets the entire time during the recording.
Considering he never uses his hand
until the very end,
until he's got Midas touch.
Yeah,
always a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
He was just not used to fighting with his hand. That's why I think he ultimately failed.
Yeah, agreed. But the point I get to is where like Din is in serious trouble and Long comes in, be like, obviously Din can't see him.
Yeah.
Because he's now under Pocket's control.
Yeah.
Which is always funny. Pocket's control.
He was a pocket protector. Except he wasn't actually protecting Pockets.
No. But the fact to be like when Pockets hits Long, he becomes the golden statue.
Yeah.
And it's just like that more of that willingness to sacrifice for a friend because Long had, discovered or not discovered, but had learned a lesson of like humility and that be like other people do matter. And he came to care for Din to such an extent he's willing to sacrifice everything in order to save this kid. And it's done so wonderful. Like when Pockets hits him with the Midas touch, and literally just like it's like split second, and then it's just all the gold forms, and he's doing this number.
Yeah,
he's just literally just taking the bullet for a friend, and it's very well done, and definitely how he goes into the afterlife, he goes into heaven, and he's his wishes come true, and he's like, but be like, my job isn't done. Be like, my friend is there, and be like, I've got to help him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and the fact that he learns that lesson is very well done, but his sacrifice is so well done. It's just like, oh, he did that because he would never done that to anybody else.
Right.
And it's just done very well. So that's my second like. What's yours?
I'm going to jump in on that with a slight rearrange of my likes and say, and talk about Long's backstory.
Oh yeah,
leading into that, because that was the thing I really wasn't expecting. I liked the idea of, you know, Long not being, you know, the comedic relief that Genie is throughout that film, but I was not expecting them to actually go deep with the character. I mean, when he's giving the advice to Din about how to act like a rich person,
which is not good.
It wasn't good advice, but honestly, as you start learning, as you're going through, you realize all these things are obviously the opposite of what he should be doing. When you get to that backstory, you realize, oh, that's why you thought that way. And it's interesting is that redemption really starts when he realizes that didn't work.
Yeah.
And what Din was going to do, you know, and what Din ends up doing once they end up back in their town was the right thing to do.
Right.
And it's like, and he finally starts rethinking about maybe his whole approach. Because I mean, it didn't work for his 17 wives. Why would it work for Din?
Yeah. True.
And then they go into this whole, you know, Din's just finally giving up his fine. Make me rich. You say that's what's all you've been saying ever since I got your pot. That's the wish I ought to be making. Fine, go ahead. I've got nothing else to lose for. And Long at this point is saying, are you sure? It's like, yes, I am sure. It says, okay, I'll grant your wish, but first I need to show you something.
Yeah. And
he goes through the whole backstory in a very beautiful couple of scenes where, you know, you see he married he got very rich as an emperor. He married off his daughters for political gain. His one and only son that should have been his heir died in battle. They don't say he died in battle. They say he returned a hero.
Yeah.
But you see, he's dead. And as he grew older, he realized he was alone, but thought, surely when I get to the afterlife, there will be parades and in my honor and all this other stuff, and I'll be welcomed home as a successful man. And at the very beginning of you see this happen in this part of the film, but you also see it at the very beginning, even though you don't know that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And he gets turned into the Wish Dragon because he was a horrible human being and had to learn what the point of being human was. And you can definitely see when he makes that sacrifice.
Yeah.
He has learned the lesson. And let me just say that about that sacrifice, because that is a cool moment. When Pockets makes the punch. Obviously, it goes to black for a short second and comes back, and you're seeing Pockets looking very confused about what happened. And you and of course, this whole time we're seeing this from Din's point of view, so we can't see Dragon or we can't see Long, and we see the gold take his form without in some ways it softens that blow that Long is dying, but at the same time I think that was far more beautiful than if we were seeing Long in dragon form turning to gold. It was actually a beautiful way they showed that dragon kind of form out of nothingness in this gold look. I thought, okay, that is very well done. 3, 2, 1, and they're falling. Will they survive? Find out next week. No, on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z.
And how Pockets like when he falls, he hits the bridge.
I'm still not entirely sure why Long turned to gold. Did he touch himself accidentally?
Yeah, he accidentally touched himself.
Okay, I couldn't quite remember.
I think he went to he did this
right, right, and then that's what caused it. That's why you don't do the Midas touch, folks. And when you witch. But yeah, he touches himself. He turns to gold, and he hits the bridge and shatters into 1,000 pieces. Oh, we don't have to worry about him anymore. But Long falls deep into the ocean, and Din, bless his heart, thinks he can grab a solid gold statue 3 times his size and drag it to shore. And he can't.
Yeah,
and he has to watch the gold statue of Long sink into the river. And it's like, oh man, that had to be hard to do. And then the last second he comes back, it's like, okay, we still get the happy ending without it being a fully happy ending. I'm fine with this.
Yeah,
because, you know, they're not rich at the end of this.
No,
it's not like Aladdin where, yeah, Aladdin's not a prince, but she can marry whoever she wants to. So screw the rule.
Yeah,
that's essentially a happy ending because Aladdin is essentially, while he's not rich, he can mooch off the princess for a bit until they're married.
Sounds like another character from Tangled.
Yes, but
Eugene.
But in this, none of them were able to, none of them had the gold. He was at the dad was bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have really any money off of her deals from what we could see. Not that it would stay long.
Yeah.
And obviously none of her connections were going to stay, which also doesn't make much sense to me because she was even if she no longer had the rich parent connection, she still should have had some connections because she very easily could have continued being a model.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
Right.
For whatever reason.
Right.
And so the only reason they're making any money at the end is because they decided to invest in Mama's dumplings because they were the best thing he had ever tasted. And part of me is annoyed by that. It's not in my dislike, so I'm bringing it up here. Perhaps the reason it tasted good was not because of her cooking necessarily, even though I bet her cooking was very good. Maybe it's because it was the first meal you got to eat with your daughter without the stress of people breathing down your neck.
That could be.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the stress life you trying to make sure your daughter grew up in total comfort, but never spent any time with her. Maybe that was the issue.
Yeah.
That's not what they go with. I know they kind of do, but they kind of don't because they say, "Oh, we'll just invest in Mama's restaurant."
Yeah.
Make and we'll get all our money through her. Anyway, sorry, that's a slight annoyance. It's not in my dislikes,
right?
That's why I'm bringing it up here. But yeah, that's my second like is Long's story, and yeah, he has to go back to being a wish dragon again after this,
and his teapot,
and it's a China glazed teapot, not a jade teapot. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's
for the more modern look.
Yeah, modern times, maybe showing more white. He's more pure. He's not as jaded.
That's an interesting thought there, but the jade would still be more expensive.
That is true.
Than the
porcelain.
The porcelain china. But anyway,
yeah. My third like on this film is definitely the relationship dynamic between Din and Lee. It's one of those. It's not where it's like, oh, they're instantly in love when they first see each other, and we get the backstory of those two. It's two kids that didn't have a parent in their life or didn't have parents in their lives, and they kind of clung to that, and they kind of grew as like just two friends growing up, and she has to leave because her dad is like just wanting to push forward with life and wanted to make her life easier and make his life easier.
He's trying to do good by his daughter.
Yeah.
But the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So
true. So I do like the idea that Din's whole wish, his big wish is just to reconnect with his friend.
Yeah.
It's not be like, I want to marry
I don't think marriage was even in his mind.
No, it wasn't.
He just wanted his friend back.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And it's not till you get to the date where I think he finally realizes, hey, she's kind of cute. I might be in love.
Maybe.
And then he kind of forgets that for a good portion of the film because until they get up to the rooftop, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'm in love. I think I might be in love with her, and I'm totally going to butcher this.
Yeah, pretty much
because of her responsibilities.
Yeah, I do love the natural chemistry of these two. Like when she finally realizes, like, oh, this is this feels like old times. Be like, we're just having fun, we're playing, and we're just being ourselves when we were kids. Because I love that when you, like, as an adult, be like, you run to somebody you knew as a child, and it's like, oh my gosh, you kind of get that flashback to being children again. Yeah. You kind of start acting like children again. But it's that camaraderie of be like, we're kind of reliving our childhood when Din's real persona is revealed. And it's just like, oh, I'd be like, I don't care about, being rich. I'd be like, I care more about you not lying to me.
Yeah.
And the how that relationship naturally develops. And it's not this be like, oh, wow, she's pretty and she's rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
no, we're friends.
Yeah. We're just friends at this point.
The fact that she's rich is actually the biggest hindrance here.
Oh yeah. I'll take a pot shot at the Swan Princess.
Yeah.
Because his whole thing be like, oh, she's pretty. What else is there? Because it was like, it's always this trope be like, it's the idea to be like, oh, they fall in love at first sight.
Right.
And they're madly in love with each other. They'll do anything to keep this love together. Mm-hmm. And it's just two people who have a connection with their kids, and they kind of reconnect as friends. And by the end of the movie, it's apparent that they've kind of fallen for each other.
Yeah.
And they're kind of going that direction. And so I hope in 2, they've kind of, it's not instantly, oh, they're already married. Let's kind of go.
I am hoping that in 2, it's following different characters for the most part.
That is true.
Those two. And we are mostly dealing with whoever Long is now, to Long's new master.
Yeah.
That's what I hope.
Agreed. Maybe they'll like touch on like, what are these characters doing now? But I do like that
maybe
because
kind of do a Twilight Zone thing where each movie is really a different story.
Yeah.
Where the connection is very, very loose.
Yeah. But overall, I like these two characters as a couple because they're primarily just friends for the most of the film.
Mm-hmm.
And they connect with their childhood connection, and then it just grows from there. And I think it's how relationships should go. It's not instantly, oh, I'm just in love with you. Oh, we need to get married we need to get married in 5 months.
Right.
And it's just, just learning to grow. Like I had a former manager. He was letting me like, it's like, yeah, be like, by the time be like, you and your girlfriend have been dating for 5 months. Be like, me and my my now wife, we're already married 2 months. I'm like, it's called slow your roll. But
everyone's journey is different.
Exactly. That's what I told him. He completely agreed with me. And yeah, it's about, I think it's about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
It's just be like, you learn to be like, they're your friend. They're your friend. You're their confidant and those kind of things. And I think it's very well done. It takes it out of the box.
Yeah.
And when it comes to relationship between a guy and a girl. And I like that. That's my third.
All right. My third. I really like how they handled who Pockets was working for and that twist.
Oh yeah, that was nice.
Because when they showed the shadowy version of him at the of their boss, at the beginning, I thought, okay, so it's a shadowy businessman. Whoop-de-doo. This is kind of a normal thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Lena's dad, and it didn't click
exactly
at first because while he had the same silhouette, I didn't see the silhouette, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sitting there going, okay. And then you get into, I think it was like the dinner scene.
Yeah.
And finally it clicked in my head. Wait a minute. What if Lena's dad is actually the one that's Pockets and the goons are working for?
Uh-huh.
That would be kind of a cool twist. 5 seconds later, I was right.
I was on the exact same track because I was watching it. Like you watch the silhouette and you hear the voice, you hear
and it doesn't connect.
It doesn't connect at first.
Connect at first, and it wasn't until like I think it's when he's talking at the restaurant to Dad on the video phone again. Because I think that happens.
Yeah, it does.
I watched the movie yesterday, but it's already slipping a little in my mind.
Right.
But I watched that and went, I wonder if there's a connect. Oh,
there's your connection.
I see how this has all become one big tangled web. Okay. And then I thought, well, then why would he be wanting the? Oh, he has made a couple of bad business moves,
and
he wants to use the the Wish Dragon to make him rich. Right. That won't destroy the economy in Shanghai.
No.
Anyway. Yeah, that's my third like, was how that twist came about. I was like, okay. I like how y'all handled that.
Yeah.
That was a good twist, and y'all executed it very well. It actually, I didn't catch it immediately like I usually do.
Right.
So yeah, that was my third like. We need to get into dislikes. What's your first dislike?
My first dislike is Din's obsession that he has to, because I mean, like he's doing his mother a disservice, or to kind of quote the unreleased song for Aladdin, be like, proud of your boy.
Yeah.
Not making your mother proud.
Yeah.
Like he's telling his mother, oh, I'm going to college, and he's not. He's side hustling and trying to make enough money before he can, try to reconnect with his friend, with his long lost friend. And I'm like, dude, you're obsessed. Like I completely understand wanting to reconnect with someone that you haven't had connection with years. I totally get that. There's a pain there for me. I totally feel that. But at the same time, it's just like, dude, what are you doing? Be like, you're a very intelligent kid, and you're just trying to get all this money for you can see your friend again.
Pretty much.
It's like, okay, it's cool, but at the same time, it's a little obsessive.
Yeah,
just a little.
Here's a wild idea. Facebook her. Y'all can make a connection.
True.
I bet you she's got Facebook, and I bet you do too, or some other social media equivalent.
Yeah.
Try that. That'll get past the rich people defenses.
Right. But that's not how our story went.
I know.
And it was just more, I was like, dude, you're obsessed.
You need help.
Yeah, you need help. You need intervention.
You're just about like one obsessive compulsive moment away from stalking her.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you're spending a night, you bought a suit to go look at a billboard.
Yes.
Just to get the courage to
need help.
But it ends up well for our dude, but it's just like, yeah, dude, you're a little obsessed. Just a little. Just a little. That is my first dislike.
My first dislike is a little bit of a strange little nitpick. Granted, I recognize that even for full US productions, there's probably more than just the one production company title.
Yeah.
That should probably go up there. And a lot of times they don't do that because of the way the stuff works. But there are way too many production company slides at the beginning of this film. Because first you get Netflix, their thing. Then you get Sony. Then Sony Pictures Animation. Then the first Chinese company whose name I don't remember. Tencent Pictures. And then the third one whose name I don't remember. That's 6. And then you get to the actual, opening credits of it, and you get Sony Pictures presents a production of a film. It's like, how many production companies do you need to go here? You only really need 3 total in these spots.
Yeah.
This is crazy, people.
Indeed.
You don't need... I get that a lot of their Chinese companies, they want full representation, but you don't need half... I don't know what half of y'all did to get on here. It's bad enough when you get stuff like we get over here, like when you see Rat Pack, like on a lot of the DC stuff.
Yeah.
And you're going, who is Rat Pack? What did they have to do with this? They're not the animation company. They're just people who funneled money, which is all you people are. If all you did was funnel money into this and you're not handling distribution or production of the film, you shouldn't get a title card at the front of the film. I'm sorry. This has been Drew's personal rant about the stupidity of money in the filmmaking industry. It's bad enough we have to have any title card, production company titles at the beginnings and ends of these films.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's one of the things where while I appreciate seeing them, and especially when they do something creative with them,
right,
I'm appreciative of it. But one is bad enough. It's bad enough to go into see a Marvel film and you see the Marvel Studios minute-long logo. Granted, in many ways, that's the theme song for the Marvel movies at this point.
Yes.
So I kind of live with it for the most part. That's why I'm fine with it in front of the TV shows also. But that's just one. You had 6. I don't need, at that point, you're getting excessive, especially since as a stupid American watching this in America and you put Chinese characters on your production title card for something you know is going to be seen in America. We know you're Chinese. We don't need to see the Chinese characters. I know that sounds racist. That's not my intention. I'm saying tailor your stuff to your audience. That's all I'm asking. And besides, you don't need those title cards anyway. Because we don't know who you are. In fact, I saw the word Tencent pictures on there. I got angry. Because Tencent is buying up video game companies. And it's starting to cause an issue with the video game side of things because especially since they own part of Epic Games, which is what makes a lot of the Unreal Engine that a lot of video games use.
Yeah.
And it's getting money from that. And I'm going, that's an American company that's having to funnel stuff to China. We funnel too much to China as it is. I'm sorry, China. You may ban our podcast after this episode because of my political views, but I don't care about you. I don't care that I don't want to know my money is going to you. I want you to be something I have to put up with when I happen to turn my iPhone over and see made in China, which I can't see on the other side of the solder box. Bad enough it was designed in California. I know that sounds dumb and I know that sounds stupid. But quite frankly, even if this was all done by European companies, because there's a bunch of European stuff that's got the same problem.
Yeah.
Where they put 4 or 5 different production company names before the movie starts.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe I am spoiled by most American movie productions in which at most you have 3 production company titles at the beginning. But honestly, over 3 is too much. In my opinion.
Fair.
So yeah, this is a small minor thing. It's an annoyance on my part. You may disagree with me. You may not care. But you don't need more than 3 at most. And honestly, if all you did was funnel money into the production of this and you're maybe making a little bit on the back end, I don't really need to know who you are. Your advertising means nothing to me. So yeah, that's my first dislike.
Okay.
This has been Drew's rant about the stupidity of filmmaking economics in the time prior to COVID when we still had to make sure it's sold in China. I think there's still some of that going on, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
Agreed.
Since COVID. That's one thing about COVID. We don't see them. We don't see many Chinese names in front of stuff. That sounds bad, I know. But anyway, I'm getting off topic here and sticking my foot farther down my mouth.
My second dislike kind of weighs into your pool a little bit and waves into your pool.
Ow.
It's more, it's there again. It's a nitpick. It's more of the, how many title cards are we going to use here? It's like, I counted, it's 8.
It's 8. I only counted 6.
It's 8.
Because I counted the 3 I knew about, which was the Netflix, Sony, and Sony Pictures Animation. Which actually, I'm kind of surprised they didn't also throw in Columbia TriStar for the heck of it.
Right.
But
yeah, Columbia Pictures, like I said before, Sony Pictures Animation, Tencent Pictures, Beijing Sparkle Roll Media Conglomerate, Base FX, Flagship Entertainment Group, Base Collaborative, Cultural Investment Holdings, and Industrial Light Magic. That makes 8.
Except 2 of those did not actually have the title cards at the beginning of the film.
True. That is so true.
Because I did not see Industrial Light Magic did not even have the title card on the front of Rango, the only film they did by themselves.
Really?
I take it back. They also did Strange Magic, which is also a movie we haven't done yet.
Yeah.
But anyways,
like, yeah, there was a lot of title cards. I'm not going to get into the political thing on this.
Yeah, we're not trying to be political. I have the same problem with, because here's the thing. Most of the bad movies that I've seen, have 8 production companies involved.
Yeah, because they need it.
So I see that and I go, this is going to be trouble. This is like, it's the same thing that crosses my mind when I see there's more than 2 directors or more than 2 writers. I go, oh no, this is going to be done by committee. This will not be good. Because most of the time it's not.
Yeah. I think overall be like seeing all the title cards be like, it's like, okay, yeah, that's way. I'd be like, I understand if you're a small production and you need different, maybe different backings.
Sony Pictures Animation.
I know.
I can maybe see Jackie Chan's company, which I know is one of those. I don't know which one. I know it wasn't Tencent.
Yeah.
But I think I can see maybe that, since he was a producer on this movie.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I can see, okay, you worked with them. Fine. You probably helped with that.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah. That's just, I mean, like,
yeah.
I just find it a little annoying. I understand companies need backing for their projects. I do find it a little odd that you have a lot of companies that are foreign that are coming in, putting money into this project. But hey, that's the way you want to do it. That's fine. But I just find it a little annoying. That's it.
And I guess I shouldn't find it too weird that there's Chinese characters on the screen on the title card for a movie that takes place in China.
Right.
I kind of should accept that. But it was one of those things where I've seen so many of these things pop up when obviously some of these, like when Paramount was really hard up for money when they were making Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Mm-hmm.
The
Secret of the Ooze?
No, not Secret of the Ooze. Was that the second Bay Turtles?
No, that's Out of the Shadows.
Out of the Shadows. That one had some on there. I was like, oh, Paramount really is hurting for money. Because that's the only reason you'd have accepted us for Turtles. For a Nickelodeon movie.
Yeah.
Paramount was hurting for money. So they had to go to China to get some money. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. I'll pay you extra money for you not to have to go to China to pick up the bill. And there's a part of that bad taste in my mouth when I've seen that. And granted, it's probably not right, but no offense, I don't trust China. I just don't.
Fair.
But anyway.
Yeah. So that's my second dislike.
By the way, that's the company, not the country, not the people.
Exactly.
I don't know the people well enough to know whether I can trust them or not.
Are more pointing towards the government.
Yes. I believe the people should be. I'm against the government, not the people. I'm fine with I don't like the People's Republic of China, but I like the people of China. If that makes any sense.
It does make sense.
Anyways,
getting into a political.
We will now be shut off from. Oh wait, we did Winnie the Pooh. We're probably already blocked. I forgot about that. Okay, my second dislike. You already gave your second.
Yes.
My second dislike. Why is the dragon furry?
I like that. The texture is cool.
I don't understand it. Dragons are scaly. They're supposed to be scaly.
Right.
Because they're lizards. This was a mammalian dragon. He had fur. I've had this weird issue with furry dragons since I first saw Falkor in A Never-Ending Story. But I accept that one a little bit better because he looked like he was half dog.
Right.
This is like, no, he's a full dragon and he's furry. I'm like, why are you furry? What purpose does the fur serve? You're supposed to be cold-blooded.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have fur and be cold-blooded. Last I checked.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how that works. That's not how any of this works. Why are you furry? I don't understand the furry dragon. Granted, it looked good. For what it was, it looked good. It made him look cute and cuddly. I can maybe accept it for those reasons. But still, it's like, you're a dragon. You're supposed to be scaly.
Mm-hmm.
Even Chinese dragons are traditionally scaly. Yeah, it's a nitpick. I will grant that. But I don't understand it. That's my second dislike.
I gotcha.
What's your third?
Oh. Oh my gosh. I'd be like, I've been pondering what my third like has been ever since I wrote down one dislike and I kind of played off yours because like that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
My third dislike. Oh gosh, what was it? Oh yeah. Pockets.
I wonder if we have the same problem.
Well, my main problem
Pockets is in my third dislike.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me explain my dislike.
Now, what's your problem with Pockets?
What is wrong? My
other than women's clothing, this for some reason doesn't have pockets.
That is, and
that has nothing to do with anything.
No, but my dislike of Pockets is, it's like, okay, it's interesting that he puts his hands in his pockets the entire time, because I'm thinking in my mind, it's like, okay, because maybe it's something to do with the voice actor. Maybe he held his hand in his pockets the entire time.
Maybe it's just a funny. Maybe it's just a funny thing that they're doing.
Yeah.
So he can be like this cool kickboxer fighter thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
just the pure kicker. But at the same time, be like, it's okay. It's a cool concept. It gets a little absurd through most of it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cool and everything. I'm just like, be like the only time you see his fist is when he gets the
Midas touch.
The Midas touch. And all I think is tires at this point. But when he gets the Midas touch, he uses his hands. Huh?
Tires?
Tires.
Oh, tires.
Midas touch. Tires.
Okay.
Get the Midas touch.
I was thinking, I thought you said tigers, and I was thinking,
Rar.
Tigers and Midas. There's no tigers in the story of King Midas. What's going on here?
Tires.
That makes more sense.
Tires.
See, and that would have confused me too, because we grew up. We used Armor All. Anyways, it's
like to the point where they are in the what do you call them, the ceremonial dragons, the paper dragons.
Yes,
like to the point where he's just the entire time. I'm like, oh, he's being held up by his little minion. It's like, okay, that's funny, but it's getting absurd here.
But then it gets worse in that scene, because now they're both fighting with their feet through the mouths.
Oh,
of the dragons.
That was just like, what?
And it's like, what are they doing? And the camera keeps shifting to the people in the audience. At one point, the child blocks the mother's view.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That was fun. It's like, yeah, but the child has seen words on the internet.
And just to kind of like point out the funny part of that scene is where it's not Din who be like, he's just kicking, doesn't know what to do. It's Lee, or how you pronounce her name?
Lena. It's Lena. But every time I say that, I think, oh, Lena.
Yeah, Lena.
That was a character on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Lena.
Anyway. Yeah, Lena. Be like, just takes the soup and just vomits all over him and then throws the pan.
Yeah.
Oh, I died. It was great.
That was funny.
That was so funny. But yeah, it's Pockets and his I would have liked it if we would have saw maybe like he had maybe like crippled hands or something like that, and his hands healed. Now he's got the Midas touch or something like that.
You know what I think it was? I think they only had time to make one model of Pockets, and it was the version with the golden hand, so they couldn't show that for most of the movie.
Maybe.
That's what I think it is. Because I've also never heard of the story of King Midas where his hand was already gold. But anyway.
Right. Or the story in Roman history where it was a Roman emperor who had got himself captured and then got who was it? Not the Saxons, but some like a Germanic tribe literally throat down his gullet.
Yeah.
I was like, there's Midas touch for you. Anyways, so yeah, that's my third kind of nitpick. It's like, why is he only kicking?
Because that's just what
that's his character
thing. That's the funny thing they thought for this character.
Yeah.
He's a kicker.
Anyway,
my third dislike.
Yeah.
Pockets has obviously heard of the Midas touch, but apparently didn't finish the story to find out why you shouldn't want the Midas touch. The problem with the Midas touch, as you know from the story, is that anything that is not made of gold, you can't touch.
Yeah.
And it's worse in the actual story because even the food he does eat, when he's gone through every other precaution to not touch the food, it turns to gold in his mouth. So he can't even eat.
Yeah.
This guy's going to have the same problem.
Yeah.
And he doesn't realize it yet.
Well, it'd be like it's only one hand. It's not two.
Okay. Yeah. In this case, it is only one hand that he has to touch. Everything else is fine. But let's face it, it's his right hand.
Yeah.
Do you realize that most of the world is right-handed?
Yeah.
Which means he was probably right-handed also?
Yeah.
Which means anything he picks up without thinking about it is probably going to be in his right hand,
Uh-huh.
and it's going to instantly turn to gold.
Yeah.
Anyone who he ever cares to touch
is going to
turn into gold. We see that because when he punches Long, when Long sacrifices himself, Long turns into gold. When he accidentally touches himself, which, let's face it, boy's going to have to go use the restroom sometime.
Yeah.
So he was going to run into this problem eventually, no matter what he did.
Right.
Here's the thing, folks. If you are ever given a chance to be granted a wish, there are 1,000 things you can wish for that will be good for you. There are 1,000 things that you can wish for that will be bad for you. And there will be 1,000 things that you may think are good but will be bad, and vice versa. But there is one thing you should never, ever, under any circumstances, wish for, and that is the Midas touch, because it's bad news no matter what you do, because it will always come back to bite you in the butt.
Okay, so I do have to say this.
Because, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think he could have worn a glove to protect.
No, because the glove would have become gold.
Because the glove would have turned to gold, and then he wouldn't have been able to lift his hand, so he'd have to take the glove off, assuming he could get the glove off.
Yeah.
The Midas touch is a bad wish.
Yeah.
He should have known that before he said, "Oh, I already know what my first wish is going to be." It's like,
greed gets you nowhere.
It's like, dude, do the smart thing. Wish for piles of gold, or wish for your bank account money to skyrocket and no one to think it's wrong. Do not ask for everything you touch to turn to gold. If nothing else, best case scenario, that's actually slow moving to get money into your world. You're not even making yourself rich that fast. Because here's the other thing: everything you turn to gold, do you know what that does? It affects the price of gold, and it don't go up. Because the more gold that gets into the world, the rarity of that gold goes down. Thus, the price of the gold goes down, and then all of a sudden, gold is no longer what the economy is even remotely based on.
Yeah.
Because gold is worthless. Don't ask for the Midas touch, people. It's not the smart move.
I will also be like, he does have the touch. He does have the power. Or you got the power.
I don't have the power.
Yeah, because who wants the Midas touch? Unless it's with tires.
I was about to go into David Bowie, but let's not. Because I was thinking, you've got the power. I'm thinking, the power of the babe. Dance Magic Dance. We haven't got to that movie yet.
Gosh, that movie.
We have not got to that movie yet.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Folks. Next year.
Coming. It's coming.
I'm probably going to put it on the list in February. But it's coming.
Oh gosh. Yes.
It's a Muppet movie and we have to do it.
Yeah. It's a Jim Henson.
Jim Henson. It's not fully a Muppet movie. But
no.
Anyway.
Yeah. So that's your third.
That's my third.
Excellent.
Does that bring us to the end of this episode?
Yes, it does.
Or this movie. We need to rate this thing.
Yeah.
I'm giving it a 7.
You're giving it a 7. Okay.
Yes, it's a well done movie. Don't get me wrong. I've got a bunch of nitpicks. I will say, for the most part, though, this movie is not my bag.
Okay.
Well, as well done as it is, this is not a movie I'm going to come back to anytime soon. I will probably see the sequel, especially if we are reviewing it.
Yes.
But as it is right now, this is not one that I'm immediately going to jump back to. So,
okay.
7.
I'm gonna give it 8. I really enjoyed this film. It's like, yeah, there's some nitpicks here and there, but I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. If I get a chance, maybe on a night where I'm not doing anything, I might pop it on. Maybe see some things I didn't see before.
Perhaps.
And yeah, I definitely want to see the sequel. If it comes out, and if it does come out.
I'm more interested in K-pop Demon Hunters.
Oh gosh.
I'm more interested in seeing what that is. But anyway,
yeah,
that brings us to the end of our review. Next week, we are jumping back actually into the world of Marvel. Hopefully for a better movie this time than the last Marvel movie we watched.
Yes.
But we will be looking at Ultimate Avengers, the movie. So join us next week for that. In the meantime, though, we need to jump into our, I guess it's spoiler filled, but we need to jump into our review of Rapunzel's Tangled Adventure.
In TAS.
Indeed.
And the masters of the universe.
Thundercats are running, Thundercats are loose. DuckTales, woo!
Let's get dangerous. Dragon, all sense. Dragon, come get me.
First episode we're reviewing tonight, Beginnings. Directed by Shane Zalvin and written by Leanna Dindal. Summary for this episode: as Rapunzel struggles with Cassandra's betrayal, the princess recounts the story of how she and Cassandra first became friends. Cast for this episode includes Clancy Brown as King Frederick, Julie Bowen as Queen Ariana, Gina Torres as Queen of Ingvar, Jennifer Veal as Enchanted Girl, Suzanne Blakesley as Old Lady Crowley, Peter McNoll as Nigel, D. Bradley Breaker, Anisha Brewster, Ashley Frost, and Mary Elizabeth McGlynn as additional voices. Trivia for this episode. Most of this episode takes place in a flashback of the 6 months before Tangled Before Ever After. It is shown during the flashback of the episode in her youth, Queen Ariana and her younger sister Willow had won the Contest of the Crowns together when they were princesses. So yeah, that is our trivia for this week. What are your thoughts on this episode?
I really enjoyed the fact to be like they do a flashback.
Yeah,
and
because at this point we had not gotten seen how they became friends.
No. Like, yeah, we got a flashback in like one of the previous episodes where it was we get to see young Eugene.
Yes.
But or young Flynn Rider, let's say that.
Well, and we had seen in another flashback young Cassandra getting left by Mother Gothel at that house.
Yes. But I really, really enjoyed this episode because you do get this the very rough start of this friendship between Cassandra and Rapunzel, because Rapunzel is just more be like, oh, I want to be best friends with you, and this because that's her. The one line that kind of got me is like, I've never seen so many princesses in one place. But like, you've been locked in a tower for 18 years, girl. How many princesses have you met?
You've never even seen a princess. 2 weeks ago, you didn't even know you were a princess. Or however long it was.
Yeah. 6 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like the episode is good. Do not get me wrong. Like, you just be like, you have that one little line. It's just like, be like, you never met a princess outside of Corona before.
Yeah.
You're like, you only realize you were a princess only like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a good story. It's a good kind of that Rapunzel still does miss Cassandra, even though the opening of that episode is very well done, because it's they revisit where the carriage crashed, and it's Cassandra kind of feeling remorseful for what she's done.
Yeah,
like she's betrayed her friends, but then
and
you know
the enchanted girl had to poison everything again.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that's all I know her as, even though I have my suspicions.
Yes,
and possibly a small spoiler from trivia, but we don't go there.
Yeah, let's not go into there. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this episode, and it kind of kind of sets you up in that place where it's be like you realize how deep that connection with those two characters have. The fact that Cassandra turns down the offer to go to this other kingdom, to where in her eyes and her perspective that she can feel like she's, you know, worth something other than being a lady in waiting.
Yeah.
And it's a very well done episode. I have opinions about the next episode.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But what I like about this is, if this episode had aired or had been told in seasons 1 and 2,
mm-hmm.
that ending would be entirely different in its feel.
Yeah.
Of her, you know, giving up being a soldier for Ingvar.
Yeah, Ingvar.
And and staying with Rapunzel. That would have hit differently.
Yeah.
Because they were still good friends. Yes, there was some growing tension near the end of season 2,
mm-hmm.
but they were still good friends. They were still die for each other, essentially. Yeah. But here, it's almost a bittersweet ending, because you're rooting for them to finally come together and be the good friends that we know they are to be, except mm-hmm. you know that's going, you know how that's eventually going to go, because the story is being told in flashback after Cassandra has already betrayed Rapunzel.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the interesting thing I thought about the lore is they actually talked about the fact that in some ways Rapunzel is still holding some of the Moonstone's power.
Yeah.
And Cassandra didn't get it, even though Rapunzel almost has no control over the Black Rocks anymore.
Right.
But that's probably what allows her to do the Wither and Decay enchantment.
Yeah, because she knows the enchantment now.
Right. But that's probably if it was anyone but her,
mm-hmm.
and probably Cassandra now, that enchantment that enchantment wouldn't work.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. It's the fact that she actually has some of the Moondrop's power
mm-hmm.
that allows her to do that, and allowed the stones to go anyway. And
mm-hmm.
if you really think about it, that's Cassandra's fault too.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes up to Cassandra was doing the best job she could, and everything she did helped Rapunzel in such a way, and the two are so diametrically opposed
mm-hmm.
in how they approach things. And now that they're no longer even close friends,
mm-hmm.
granted, I think Rapunzel will be, you know, fighting to get to be friends again with Cassandra.
Yeah.
Going through there, she's got the more positive feelings. That's just how Rapunzel is.
Yeah.
And plus, the show would end horribly if Cassandra died while still fighting them. But
yeah,
I'm not getting into the ending yet.
No,
but
we'll get there when we get there.
When we get there. We're only a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
But I love the bittersweetness of. I know it sounds weird, but I love the bittersweetness of them coming together and losing because they're gaining a friendship, which was more important than winning this competition.
Right.
I love that's bittersweet in light of the end of season 2.
Yeah.
And I will say I have one slight disappointment. None of the 7 kingdoms are Arendelle.
Wonk wonk.
Granted, when this episode would have taken place, Elsa wouldn't have been allowed out of her room.
That is true.
So they couldn't have participated in the princess games anyway.
Yeah, that would have been a one-sided game. Let's say
just a touch. Just a touch.
Ice, baby. Everybody's frozen,
baby. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're gonna fight this giant robotic lion. Which let me just say, there was a part of me when they were showing that say the pointy fangs, and it's gonna say, I think there's a joke here. There's gonna be a joke here. The thing's gonna come out, and it's gonna be a gopher, because we have not had the gopher grab this season. Or Sneeze Weasel, one of the two.
Yeah, Sneeze
and
Weasel.
So it's a lion. It's like, okay,
it's an iron lion.
Y'all left the joke on the table. Fine, because they were leading up to like this big reveal of this thing that they were all going to have to capture the flag from, and they're doing this whole big thing that felt like it was leading up to a joke. Because it's the kind of joke this show tells. I'm thinking it's going to be a gopher. Please tell me it's a gopher. Nope, it's a giant robotic lion. Slightly disappointed. Because how funny would it have been that they had to have a gopher grab?
It's a giant gopher.
It's not friendship games. What do they call it?
Princess games.
No, the in the first 2 seasons.
Where
that gopher grab event took place.
The Corona. Oh, come on.
It was like the Harmony games or the friendship games or
something like that.
Anyway, doesn't matter. It's like, we have to have that one because we have to have this episode, this little plot point every season because we have a formula. Nope, this season we are actually breaking the formula in many ways because we only had maybe 1 or 2 quote unquote filler episodes.
True.
In what 6 episodes? By now we're neck deep in filler usually.
Yeah,
and we're actually like, no, we're still advancing plot. We're actually advancing the plot. So I say that until we get to the next episode.
Oh gosh.
Which we should go into the next episode and get it done with.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's get into this one.
The King and Queen of Hearts. Directed by Tom Caulfield and written by Ricky Roxburgh. Summary: Rapunzel finds that her parents' memory loss has made them forget how they fell in love. Things get complicated when King Trevor tries to steal the Queen's heart. Guest cast includes, once again, Clancy Brown as King Frederick, Julie Bowen as Queen Ariana, Jeremy Jordan as Varian, Bradley Whitford as King Trevor, Vivian Vencer as Kiera, Charles Halford as Vladimir, and Steve Blum as Attila.
Oh, yes.
In this episode,
he's actually 2 of the characters.
Yes, but the one he's attributed to is Attila.
Yeah.
In this episode, it is revealed that Rapunzel and her boyfriend Eugene still have yet to write their names inside of hers der Son's journal. Technically, they never did.
No, they didn't.
The memories of King Frederick and Queen Ariana do start to return when they see Rapunzel and Eugene hug and kiss each other at the end of the episode. Now, let's start with the good.
Okay.
I do like the idea that they're still having that the events of that first 2 episodes, they're still having to deal with the after effects on this because they have not talked about the status of King Frederick and Queen Ariana since episode 2.
Yes.
They've just shown that Rapunzel has taken some charge in their place, but they really haven't talked about where they are. They've not even been in the episodes.
True.
So I do like that we are seeing that, okay, yeah, the reason they're not been doing much is because they're still dealing with their affected memory loss from the beginning of the season. I do like the simple fact that King Trevor, as much as I hate him and his character, and every time he shows up, I do like at the very least that when he comes to steal her heart, to steal Queen Ariana, the gift he's going to give her is actually something that King Frederick will recognize and be able to use to save the day. Even though it doesn't look like that thing.
Yeah.
I kind of figured it out like right before he did, but granted, we had more time to look at it.
Right.
I do like the fact that this feels like a very realistic way to deal with memory loss of being of two lovers pasts, you know,
Mhm.
having to fall in love again and having to realize what it was they loved about
Mhm.
the other person. Because yeah, they are two different people, though I don't remember King Frederick being an egg collector.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing.
Yeah.
But definitely I can see Queen Ariana being a thrill seeker because her daughter's a thrill seeker.
And her sister's,
And her sister's really a thrill seeker.
seeker.
We haven't seen Willow in a while,
No.
which I'm fine with. Last time we had knockoff tribbles.
True.
But yeah, there's a lot that this episode I think does well. And then there's King Trevor, who should never be allowed on the show again. I hate his character with every fiber of my being because he's just there to cause trouble.
Agreed.
This episode could have been taken care of without Trevor showing up. I personally think he adds a little bit more tension to it.
Yeah.
And I think it does help the story along, but it only is not really helping the story. It's not really he's not helping them fall in love.
Right.
He's causing maybe some trouble, and maybe that is what causes King Frederick to finally step up and be the man she fell in love with. But the entire concept of King Trevor is annoying.
Yeah.
This is the guy who has not only a state seal, that's an actual seal.
Arp, arp.
Not only does he have a seal of approval
Arp,
that
arp.
the state seal is married to,
Arp, arp.
but then he has a team of Navy SEALs.
Arp, arp.
And I am not ashamed to admit, I was hoping there would be only 6.
SEAL Team 6.
That was my hope. Now, granted, King Trevor at least does try to be a good guy at the end of the episode.
Right.
He does help everyone, get back safely.
Right.
And then rides off on the back of his SEAL team back to whatever the name of that kingdom is.
Yeah.
But he's that character that shows up that makes me go, it's going to be one of those episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, what is your thoughts?
My thoughts going into the good of this episode. It's a fun little adventure. It's a fun little adventure. It's the trying to rediscover or reignite a passion for the king and queen. And Rapunzel, of course, she has to make everything right. And of course, this is her parents, and she wants everything to be, hunky dory and like everything's happily ever after because that's her character. I enjoy that aspect of it. King Trevor is a real pain in the butt, like he's supposed to. I don't necessarily despise his character, but I find him really annoying. I think it's just his character. He is a scumbag of a character. I agree with that.
I mean, in many ways he's supposed to, but he does not. This show has had a couple of scumbag characters.
Yeah.
That there's a part of me I like to see them on screen.
Yeah.
Like Stallion, for instance. She tried to steal Eugene from Rapunzel.
Yeah.
In the beginning of season 2. And then when she comes back, she steals from them at the end of the episode. And a part of me is like, she's scumbag. She's going to cause issues and she's there. It's just who she is. And yet I like her character.
Right.
Same is even true of our 3 quote unquote villains that we've only really seen in really backup shots, except for their few spotlight episodes, which technically one had a spotlight movie, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
But Mother Gothel is a character I don't like. She's a scumbag, but I do like the character because she's well written. Matthews, I don't like.
Yeah.
But he's a well written character, so I appreciate him being a part of the story.
Agreed.
Painter Lady, I barely remember.
True.
But that was the first moment where this show actually was getting somewhere. It felt like right after Queen for a Day introduced Xantiri, and there being that obvious connection.
Right.
It it was maybe we didn't get much time with her yet to
Mhm.
really see what kind of person she is, but she was still not an annoyance.
Okay.
King Trevor is annoying in every episode, every scene he's in
Of course.
throughout the entire series. And that's why I don't like him. He's
I understand.
annoying. He's supposed to be annoying. Don't get me wrong. But he's not annoying in a way that I can live with. That
Okay.
I like.
I got
That
you.
makes sense.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So going forward, the episode is good. I just have problems with what word am I looking for?
Chronology.
Chronological
events.
be like events that they kind of be like they set up things, but then in this episode they kind of goes thump. They drop the ball and they're
A lot of that though is an intentional ball dropping.
Are you
because
sure?
Some of it is.
Okay.
But continue.
Yeah, let me further explain this. So we have the scene where Angry and Red show up. Only Angry talks,
Yes.
but the only problem is it's already been set up that Red does not like being called Red. She likes being called by her birth name.
And if we're being honest, why are they still calling them Angry and Red?
Exactly.
They already have their names.
Yeah. Because Rapunzel calls them like, oh, Angry and Red and Angry. It's like, but
They don't want to go by
she doesn't want to go by Red anymore.
And they both ought to be moving away from those anyway because they are starting to become well-respected members of the kingdom.
Yeah.
So
But-
yeah, how about call them by their real actual names?
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah, and then you get into King Frederick, because in season 1, if I remember correctly, is where we get the introduction of King Trevor.
yes.
Is where I'm
In
gonna
the episode in like Flint.
Yeah. So it's more be like, hey, we're gonna make this we're gonna play this trick on King Trevor and cause all this mischief. And King Frederick is just be like this fun-loving guy who is very kind of an adventurous kind of guy. Be like it's the way the season 1 plays him as in a way.
Can I jump in on this?
Okay.
The King the King Frederick of season 1
Mm-hmm.
is a different character than the one we've got here because of the differences in what's going on. King Frederick in that one, yes, he's a worrywart for his daughter because she's now back after 17 years?
18 years.
18 years. But she's back and she's proving to be while she's there's still some things to work on, obviously, in that season. She is proving to be able to take care of herself, and he is trying in that episode to get in good to understand Flint.
Right.
Or Eugene.
Yeah.
He can afford to let his hair down there, and he's actually trying a little hard in that episode.
Yeah, makes sense.
To do this. And plus, the fact that there's this thing between the two kingdoms where they prank each other in different ways.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of... I can see this.
Yeah.
And I can see how maybe this King Frederick is the King Frederick possibly from when he was a teenager, because we don't know how far back this memory loss actually hits. We know it goes back to at least to when he and Queen Ariana met.
Yeah.
Which as at least 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years is a lot of time for someone to change.
Yeah, agreed.
And granted, memory loss is probably not going to affect you where you're acting like your 20-year-old self, like the comedies usually show.
Right.
But he is a different person at this point, because not only does he remember to some degree that Rapunzel was missing for 18 years, because at the very least, by the time she came back, they would have been filled in on the recent history of Corona, even if they don't remember it.
Right.
But he's different at this point. I would be more cautious as he is at this point.
Makes sense.
It would make sense. It would be so much easier just to stay at the castle and collect eggs.
Makes sense.
Granted, he's also doesn't have the authority right now he usually does, because Rapunzel has taken over so they can get back on their feet and be full rulers again.
Yeah.
So he's kind of on vacation, and it's kind of reverted back to just playing it safe. Now there are elements in season 1 of Frederick thinking of being a play it safe character.
That makes sense.
Because it'd be so easy for Rapunzel to stay up in her room.
Yeah.
And he tries to kind of keep her in certain spots, and he has to keep being reminded, by just keeping her here, she has traded one tower for another.
True. That is
and
so
that's
true.
a lot of what he's working through in season 1. We don't get him through season 2 for obvious reasons. They're on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then season 3, his memory has been wiped.
True.
And and that's going to be a traumatic experience no matter what happens.
True.
And he is going to have to, he's dealing with the fact that he'd be more cautious right now anyway. And I think that's,
I would agree with you
and
there.
not as thrill seekery as maybe his wife is.
Mm-hmm.
They've both reverted somewhat in maturity, but at the same time, they are aware of everything and they are leaning into their safety nets.
Yeah.
For him, it's collecting eggs, apparently.
Yeah.
For her,
It's
is let's go hang gliding.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
People are people, and and sometimes the people doing stupid things is actually their security blanket to make them feel safer, because it makes them feel like they're in control.
Agreed.
That's my theory there.
I got you.
That is my theory as to why they're both acting differently than the way they were treated in season 1.
Agreed.
Anyway,
I think my third kind of point, it's more how King Trevor describes his boat, because he describes his boat as a how does he describe his boat? He describes it as a it's like a pontoon or something like a floating not a pleasure barge, but a yacht. Not a yacht, but it's something.
I don't remember him describing the boat. So
well, he describes his boat as more of a a pontoon or something, like a pontoon boat or something like that. Not a pontoon, but something similar to that, like a flat boat.
Barge?
A barge. Yeah, that's what he describes.
Is that the word you're
That's the word I'm looking
for?
for. Thank you. He describes his boat as a barge. The entire time. It's not a barge.
It's a galleon.
It's a galleon ship.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world?
Two things. A, Trevor's an idiot.
I
I've
agree
seen
with
this
you.
many times.
Agreed.
He would not care that it was called a galleon. He would still think of it as his party barge.
Yeah.
Because for him, it kind of is. It's his pleasure ship.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a merman version of him would not be on the bow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's.
I had flashbacks to Thor Ragnarok in Jeff Goldblum's ship. If you catch my meaning.
Oh gosh.
The one they stole.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. No.
That one.
No.
That's what I'm getting flashbacks to.
I gotcha. It's like when he lives his barge. I'm like, that's not a barge. And at the exact same time, I'm thinking,
I get your technical thing, but I don't think that was the point of what he was saying.
No, I understand. My like an historical point, like Roman history. Like I love to go to Roman history. Emperor Nero made two barges, and put it on a lake. Those are barges.
He was using barge as a synonym for boat, not as the type of boat it was.
I know. I'm being you're pedantic.
Pedantic is the word.
Thank you.
That's what I actually called Roy that. Francisco that on one other thing, since he was being pedantic about one other thing, but I don't remember what it is now. Moving on.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
good episode. I just saw those little things. I'm like, eek.
I know those little things can get under your nerves. It's just, I don't think I think that's not what the
no, it's not. That's not the point.
I actually think that the reason they did that, like I said, was he think of it this way. He was talking about how this giant ship was nothing but a barge.
Yeah.
Or a dinghy, a small boat,
a
workhorse to give. I just like, well, if he thinks this is a barge, imagine what he thinks a full-blown sailing ship is going to be.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the kind of thought process that's going through my mind. It's like, oh, this giant sword. Oh, this is just a knife. Obviously, it's not a knife. It's a sword. But it's like, oh, if you think this is a sword, you should see what we call a sword.
Yeah.
If you think this ship is a galleon, you should see what we think is a galleon, because he was trying to show off Queen Ariana.
That makes sense.
That's my theory.
That makes sense.
I understand why it didn't fit with you.
Tangled theory.
Thanks for watching. In the meantime, I think that will bring us to the end of this show. This is do you have anything to add before we finish?
No, I'm looking forward to the next movie. I know nothing about this. All I know, it's set in the Ultimate Universe of Marvel.
Yeah, and it's based on the TV shows that were going around that time too. Whereas this is like the lead into those TV shows. So
okay,
it will definitely be a better animation than the last Marvel movie we watched.
Gosh, I hope so.
But anyway, in the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we'll catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photo Bin, to see his photography. His Letterboxd page at GGeorge759. His Twitter at GGeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Oh, great. The episode's over. Wait, what am I doing back in the teapot? Drew! What in the world you do now? Man, get me out of here! Come on, man! Get me out of here! Drew! Drew! Drew, get me out of here! Anybody! Help!
And that's the end of the episode, guys.
Oh yeah!
I may cut some of that down a little bit, but that'll be fine. Next week we are going to be doing Ultimate Avengers. So join us for that. Let me see if I can find someone for us to raid on the Twitch. Retro Book of Gaming is going, so I'll send this over there.
Nice.
So yeah, thank y'all for joining us, and we will catch y'all next time. Once I hit all the buttons correctly.
Who is this? It's Boomer Quanger, I think. Hey, what's up, Dustin?